Guys, another episode of the Clock Enders podcast. Just finished watching Everton versus Arsenal versus Everton at Goodison Park today. Just a bad, disappointing loss. We looked off the pace. I don't know about you guys, what you saw, but it just looked. I don't know, man. It looked like Arsenal from years ago.
Yeah, pretty disappointing. I don't know exactly how to jump into it. No changes from our last Premier League match. That's the group that started it. I was at least hoping to see Tommy out there instead of Ben White. Give Ben White the rest that we've been talking about. Midfield. I mean, compliments to Everton's midfield. Decore and Onana, who we talked about extensively throughout the transfer window, were excellent today. They made Odegaard virtually invisible. I shouldn't say invisible. He was there. He was getting the ball, but he was rushed in all of his play. He was marked extremely well. It was a wonderful job, by Sean Dyche to get his brand new team ready. Sorry about the noise in the background there, but yeah, it was a wonderful job by Sean Dyche to get this team ready. But we obviously weren't ready, and we obviously weren't up to the task. And it was, like you said, just the same old Arsenal that turns up to Goodison, for as long as we can remember reason.
What did you see, Nick?
Yeah, I saw that. You know what? There was just something about this game. There's just something about it that was troubling me from midweek. Every time we go into this place, it's always something at Goodison Park, man. Always something at Goodison Park. There was just, I didn't see the energy. Like, it was almost like they were just kicking it into nowhere. There was no flow to the game. Everton seemed to just take all that away. There's that, and there's always that whole, I think I mentioned it in the last pod, that first game with a new manager where everybody is trying to earn their spot. And, then you add Iwobi playing against his former club. They were quicker to every ball. They just frustrated Arsenal all the way through. And, there's really no excuses. Guys just didn't show up. They didn't show up to play. That's all I saw.
Yeah, it's disappointing to watch, knowing that we full well know what Arsenal can do, what this Arsenal team can do. We've seen it. We've seen great 10 out of 10, 12 out of 10 performances from this team tonight. It was just, I don't know, man, 3 or 4 out of 10 from everybody. There's so much to unpack in this from this game, but is there an more unlikable player than Mopé in the world? Not even in England, in the world. Like, I want someone to Ben Godfrey him. Just step on his face or something, please.
Yeah.
So such an unlikable person. Maybe
he's so fake, man.
Oh,
He just
Oh, man. I'm checking in the background, right after the goal. You see the specter of Mopé just lurking there in the background, right after the.
That's my favorite play of the game, though.
Oh my gosh! Literally,
and this thing was right over him, and just said, "Man,
I was like, would go down."
Yeah, that's my favorite play of the game. I saw some passion, some energy. And, Zinchenko, man, that's what he does. So I wish you would have grabbed him still, man. But, he kept it together. Composure is important. So he'll stick with the yellow card. So it's all good.
You on mute, Reg? You on mute? Check your mute button. We could read those lips for a second there, at least.
I know, right? I get it. Can
you hear me?
Now, yeah.
There's a couple of words there that are pretty easy to lip read there, Reg.
I'll edit that out.
The game, might as well leave it.
All right. So what I was saying was that we can give ratings to guys, but I don't know if there was a surprise. There's a surprise. There's some
What's
surprising
the point? What's the point?
performances the other way. I don't think we can give anybody anything over a 5 today. It was just bad. What do we think our Everton did
No.
in order to neutralize what we've been doing all year and to make us look like that?
Again, I think it was the energy.
I
think
honestly, I
it was
wasn't.
all. Go ahead, Edson.
Yeah, yeah. No. Go ahead. You. I think that you're kind of nailing it. You know, and some of the announcers were kind of saying it a little bit too. It was an organized press, and I think that we were always looking towards Odegaard. When the ball was kind of in the back, like, and Odegaard had to come deep a lot, and then Zinchenko. I mean, it was weird because it felt like Zinchenko had said this in the chat that Zinchenko played very little left back. It felt more like the three at the back that Nick was asking for most of the game. I remember Nick was asking for it the last show, but it felt a little. It felt a little more like three at the back and Zinchenko sitting in front.
Right.
And so he was obviously involved a lot, but I think what ended up happening is the midfield was making obviously concerted efforts, we always do, to get the ball to Odegaard, and maybe just like in desperate times or trying to get him the ball, but he just there was always supposed to 2 guys, 3 guys. Same thing with Saka. When Saka would get the ball, it was a multitude of guys who were running at him. You saw a few crossfield balls, you saw a few switches of play, which ended up being really nice passes. But again, they were just very organized, compact when they needed to be compact. But outside of that, they looked really organized.
Particularly in Arsenal's end too, when they had the ball down there. There was a point where I think they got 4 straight corners to start the game. Like, what's happening here? It just seemed they were organized at the front, they were organized at the back, and again, they were just, as you eloquently put it, that press was nuts. It was like, this team is in the bottom 3 of the table, like at the
no, they're bottom 3 because they're garbage. That's a bad team.
But I mean, like I said, they all came. They woke up for this game. They knew that there's just something about going into a certain place to play and a team getting up for it. And they changed their manager, and they played like, I'm not going to say a top 6 team. Like, I'm just going to say they played what I think they're capable of. They could. They just had a bad season, and Arsenal was just ripe for the picking. Right out of the break, we're feeling really good about ourselves, and here's the time to sort of ambush, and that's what I think happened. Arsenal just got ambushed.
Yeah, I think that everyone kind of, again, like you said at the start as well, everyone kind of had the feeling that it was going to go down. Like this was a possible drop-off game. So this is where we're at.
I didn't want to say it in the last pod. I know you guys are pressing me and giving me this peer pressure. Yeah, you're not going to call a goal. You're not going to call a goal, are you? Honestly, I was going to say 2-1. I still thought Arsenal had a chance to pull it through, but in the chat where you were like, I'm very worried right now, it was right then and there. I was like, I'm feeling you, Edson. Something about this game is not going to work out. Like, something was not right mentally there. I thought at the half there would be some good changes. I thought actually the substitutions weren't bad. I don't even think they came at a bad time. Maybe Tommy Astor was a little bit late, but outside of that, it was the right substitutions and the right time to make substitutions. Did they do much with it? I mean, Trossard, I didn't think he played terribly. Maybe some decisions with the shot, but I mean, he was out there working. Jorginho, I felt like I didn't even see him touch the ball.
Well, so we're gonna get into all of that. There's 3 main points of this game that we should be able to hit, because we're not doing player ratings today, because everyone gets a 3, and that's being very generous. But those 3 points that we're going to talk about are Arteta's lineup to start the game, the substitutions that were made, because I know Edson has a problem with those as well, and the debut of Jorginho. So where do you guys want to start? You want us? Well, let's start off with the lineups. We'll start at the beginning. We'll start with the lineup. Nick, did you see anything in the lineup that would give you any cause for concern?
Let me bring up this lineup again. Let me bring.
Well, it was pretty much the same lineup we started with the whole
I
time.
think it's, I was commenting on it earlier because I was like, I swear, I think I was the one who probably picked this lineup too, outside of the three at the back that I thought that it was going to be, but I didn't think there was going to be much changes. I think in the last episode, you nailed it on the head. I think Saka, he just needs to rest, man. Like he needs to sit just for a game. I just knew that they were going to use him because, they felt like maybe we don't have anybody on the right side, so let's just bring him in. You know what? Outside of Ben White, I was actually comfortable with the lineup to start. Outside, the only, again, like I said, the only criticism I had was, maybe you guys are right. Maybe Saka does need a bit of a rest, and maybe you should give Trossard a run. But everybody else, it seemed okay to me. The minor tweaks here and there with Ben White, maybe. And Tomiyasu coming in at what I felt like the 90th minute. But outside of that, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad.
Edson, what did you see? Or what would you have changed, actually?
Well, I mean, I definitely wanted Tomiyasu in there from the beginning. Not to say that we were really caused that many problems, but in one-on-one duels, Tomiyasu is like a little bit more clever. And so maybe we wouldn't have given up as many of those corners. He's kind of a safe set of hands. And and to be honest with you, for most of the game, at least until very late in his shift, Ben White wasn't making the overlapping runs that we were talking about the other day to help Saka. There was very little of that, in fact. I'm not sure if that was maybe a cause of Everton's guys really hanging off the end of the defense and giving us problems on counters a couple of times, or just putting pressure on our defenders that he wasn't able to get all the way forward. Again, like we said, Zinchenko was sort of sitting in the midfield. So maybe that was the root of his reluctance to kind of make those overlapping runs. Either way,
I don't know if there's anything wrong with Zinchenko moving up. I thought that it's Everton. Like, you'd almost expect him to do that, no?
Right, but what I'm saying is the effect that it maybe had on the way Ben White was playing the position. I'm not really sure. Again, these are issues that you have when, Reg said it last game, when you have a guy, this is not his natural position, right? Yeah. So he doesn't adapt naturally to how he's supposed to position himself or how he can best position himself. Look when Tomiyasu came on, not to say he was on fresh legs, obviously, but we took a hold of the game a little bit more when he was on. The other thing is that who else did we have to bring on when we needed a goal? Where was Balogun? Okay, recall. I was saying it, and I said it last game, and I'll say it again. Recall Balogun. Okay, it's not like this guy seems like a no-brain kind of star. You know what I'm saying? Like pulling him back. Do you think that's gonna hurt his confidence? You know what I mean? No, that's going to help his confidence. The club wants him back. You know what I mean? This is obviously would have been before he was on top of League One scoring, but he was still top 3 at that point, right? If you pull him back, it may not stunt him, actually. Maybe it's the team needs me. We're in a title race. We've only got one striker here. You know what I'm saying? If anything happens to Eddie, we're absolutely screwed. You know what I'm saying? For who knows how long Gabriel is going to be or Jesus is going to be recovering for. And then as we've seen what's happened with Smith Rowe, what happens if there's a setback? Right?
Even with
I'm Balogun, I'm taking more confidence from my team saying I'm in a title race. We're not secure in this position. You know what I mean? We need you. You know what I mean? And I'm confident to bring you back, and I'm confident to play you in Europa League games as well. You know what I mean? Like, and really put you in the rotation. Like,
Yeah, but
wouldn't that help you?
even with Gabriel,
Playing in a Farmers League outside of the games against PSG. You know what I mean? Come on, bro.
You still have to score. So I mean, you're playing in a Farmers League. You still have to perform and score, right? So,
but this is not a 19-year-old boy. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I think you're right in that point that something should have happened with him to bring him back, because even when Jesus comes back, it's not like he's gonna pick up where he left off. He's gonna take a couple of games to get in. He's only gonna play probably 30 minutes the first game he comes back, the last 30. And then you're going to have to gradually put him back into playing the full 90 or whatever you're going to do with him. So it's going to take a couple of games, 3-4 games. So, and we're in March by then, end of March, the crunch time of the season. We should have done something in the transfer window if we weren't going to bring back Balogun to get another striker in. But
the thing is, if you poll Arsenal fans, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that you definitely get more people saying that the best striker that Arsenal owns is Balogun, more so than probably Nketiah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I mean, I think we knew that before the hat trick. You know what I mean? One hat trick didn't make that difference in the way that I thought about it. And frankly, seeing the way that Nketiah has performed, without Jesus, in the sense that he's managed to be clinical, whereas Balogun can bring a lot to the table as well. I feel like you have an argument to say that Balogun is the best striker at the club, is what I'm saying. So at the very least, to bring him back to play a backup role, we have a title to win. That's why we went for Trossard. That's why we went for an experienced guy in Jorginho. Why wouldn't we just have a little, just decide to make the recall and have a little bit of backup?
The undertones of Eddie's bad game today was, I don't know, he didn't get a lot of service, man. I mean, and there was one, like, Eddie put it on Odegaard's foot in mid second half there, and Odegaard just made an absolute mess of it. I think we got to be careful here while we're sitting here begging for Balogun, and Eddie had a bad game. Not even a terrible game. I didn't think he was terrible at all. He was actually trying to provide service to these guys. I noticed on a few occasions. But
striker though, you don't pass.
Yeah, I know. Striker, I get that part.
But there was no service. There was no service. That's what it boiled down to.
Listen,
there was no service.
If you want to be a Premier League striker and have your name bandied about with one of the best ever, you get one chance, you put it away. You don't. I can't afford to give you 10 or 11 chances. You had one chance, you got to score. If you're going to be a prolific striker, I'm sorry. You had that chance in the first half. He put it 20 feet over the net, one-on-one with the goalie. I don't know why. He could have squared it. He could have shot it low. It probably would have gone in because Jordan Pickford shit. So, I mean, you get one chance, you got to put it away. Thierry Henry has that chance, it's a goal. That's a prolific striker.
Yeah, we don't have a Thierry Henry in the team.
I was going to say, we shouldn't mention him in the same.
I can see that we don't have that. But what I'm saying is that if you want to look at someone who's a striker, a real striker, that's what you need. You get one chance, you put it away, we win 1-0. Thank you very much. But if you need 5 or 6 chances to score one goal, I'm sorry. It's not going to work out.
Do you think that it was any sort of I don't want to call it like a layover or something like that? Maybe just from that FA Cup game. Maybe he should have played a more firm, solid lineup in that game, and had those guys work against Manchester just to sort of keep the continuity, keep the flow, the attitude the same. Like, obviously,
everyone got minutes against City. Everyone got minutes. Maybe they didn't start, but everyone got minutes against City. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but maybe that shouldn't have been the case. Maybe he should have just ran with his
fresh competition in the squad. You know what I mean? Like, first week of training with new people involved, or with everybody that's going to be involved for the rest of the way down the stretch. I expect to see better. You know what I mean? Like, I expect to see guys who know that they're in competition with other guys and whose places are in jeopardy, and you know what I mean. Like
But don't you think it would have been okay to leave that for maybe this game versus and maybe put a better effort out against City?
Well, no, because it's FA Cup. Who cares, right?
I know, and I get that, but this is
You want to play your best.
You can't call them shit and not like say that. Well, I mean, of course, maybe they're looking past this game because it's a shit team they're supposedly facing, and maybe the game to focus on, which is what City did. City's like, nah, man, we're not. The only guy we're changing is our keeper. We're gonna roll. You know. You see that, then maybe your attitude's going to change the plan.
They don't have guys to change. Like the guys that they can change are starters on other teams, right? So even if they played those guys, it's not like there's a huge drop off.
No,
they've won the league. What is it, 4 in a row or 4 and 5, whatever it is? So I mean, they know what they're doing and how to rotate.
But is there something to be said about momentum? Like, is there something to be said of? Nobody ever believes in that, but sometimes you see that. Like it's clear.
Like, shouldn't be
no energy, man.
It shouldn't be momentum. It shouldn't be a momentum call to play Everton.
Everton came out like they played the entire game like you'd expect a home team to play the first 10 minutes of a game. That's how they came at Arsenal. And Arsenal should be able to sort of handle that initial bum rush, if you want to call it something. And I'm looking at minute 40, and I'm like, how haven't they got a corner here? Why is the ball going 20 feet over the net, like you said? Well, what's happening here? Where's the focus? I don't know, man. Just
all around disappointing performance. Maybe, like you say, part of it might be what Everton was doing, but championship sides that win leagues, sides that dominate, find a way to get through what the other team is doing. That's why I put in the chat, Arteta will figure it out in the second half, because it's got to be better in the second half. It was a little bit, but not by much.
So do you think that maybe? Well, does Arteta have? He just didn't get his boys up for this game.
I'm telling you, man, it looked much better after Tommy came in there. Up until that point, I was like, I was puzzled, you know.
And he came in late. I was cheering the moves when he's pulling Odegaard. I was like, yes, finally. Like, did someone else not notice what was happening here? Martinelli had to go. And then Tomiyasu, I think, came in like what, minute 80 it felt, 83 or something like that. I'm like, what's the point?
I mean, again, on fresh legs, so it's not even, you know, you can't even really evaluate it. And obviously, we hit a level of desperation at that point in the game. A whole lot of time wasting on their point, also on their part. Probably should have had another.
Pickford got a yellow for that, right? He got a yellow.
I think we should have at least had another minute tacked on. But over, you know, especially after the Mape incident, he was looking, as I said in the chat, he was looking for his Huckleberry. You know, he tried Xhaka early on. Xhaka did the whole Boy Scout move around him, but you knew what he was out there to do. You knew he was out there with one directive, and he got his man in the end with Zinchenko. And, you know, that wasted off a little bit of time. They weren't going to credit us back with that time. You know, but kudos to them. They played. I mean, like I said, their midfield played a great game. Connor Cody was very good today.
Listen to what you're saying. Connor Cody was very good today.
He was very good. Tarkowski and Cody were excellent.
I know, but it's like this is what we're saying today. So Tarkowski and Connor Cody were very good today. I never thought I would ever hear that. This team is terrible, and I don't know where this performance came from. If it is Sean Dyche coming in and everyone, like we said, the new manager bounce, it won't be around next game for sure. I can guarantee you that. And then the old Everton will come back. Will come back in spades. So I think this game. I just want to put it in the rearview mirror and move on to the next one. But I mean, we still have some things to talk about this game. We talked about the substitutions. If we don't have any creativity coming from number 8, Martin Odegaard, who's the backup? We saw Vieira come in. I mean, did he get enough time that we can evaluate his performance? I don't know. But if there's no creativity from Odegaard, what do we do? Who's next? Who comes in?
Well, I mean, I thought that Trossard could play in. Trossard can play in behind the striker as well, right? And that's why I was kind of disappointed with that sub of Martinelli. I thought, okay, drop Trossard in between these guys and see what they can do together. You know what I mean? In more of an attacking posture, right? And you're now holding with two essentially. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I guess play the way that you normally play with Xhaka and Zinchenko. You know, whoever's getting forward, whoever's overlapping. I mean, we needed to apply more pressure. You know,
Arteta was not trying to change that script, and I think you hit it on the button there, man. And I didn't even think of that in the moment. Or it's like, yeah, maybe Trossard in this moment, you bring in that experience versus a very young Vieira who has not had a lot of time in a pressure situation. You're gonna bring in the kid there to replace Odegaard?
Well, Trossard was already in at that point when Vieira came in, right?
I thought
I know what you're saying. Exactly. I mean, I feel like I would have tried him there before and then tried Vieira. You know what I mean? If you don't find any success with him, you know, in behind the striker and tucked in the number 10 role. I don't know. That seemed like what would have made sense to me. And then, you know, Martinelli, it's not like he didn't look like he didn't have any legs out there. You know what I mean? It's just, again, there wasn't much service, and he didn't have anybody overlapping or playing with him to really make runs to free him up either. So
all in all,
nobody was dragging. Nobody was giving the regular movement at the top that we normally have. It's just a really stale performance.
What did we think about the Partey substitution? For the lead up for the game, we thought he wasn't even going to start or even play. I was watching the walkout from the tunnel, and I saw him in the background, and I was just like, I don't know if Arteta's playing games or what he's doing. But what did we think about the substitution? 58 minutes into the game, 7 minutes from the start of the 7 minutes from the start of the second half, he's pulling him out. Do we think it's an injury? Do we think it's, the team just wasn't ticking around him? I didn't think he played that bad in the first half, but.
No, he didn't. Not at all. He gave Thomas
taken off. I don't know.
He was replaced partly in the 59th minute, so he gave him an hour out there. But you know what? Jorginho, for me, in his first game, if he's not going to get more time than that to like get in the flow of the game, then maybe you probably should have started him. Because if Partey's not, if he's not well and you're pushing him 59 minutes when a guy that plays, that gives us 90, I don't know, man. Maybe this was not the game to bring him back. Maybe you should have went Jorginho.
Yeah, but is he hurt?
The game, first. Maybe you should have done that. Because
is he hurt?
30 minutes out there, huh?
I can't see why else you bring him off. Like, he must be hurt.
Yeah,
so I guess he can only give us 60 minutes today. I mean,
that gives us 90 on a regular basis. He's coming off after 60. He must be hurt.
It all seems strange. And I mean, maybe there was an action in the game that kind of irritated him. You know what I mean? And the manager maybe saw a difference. I don't know. It's impossible to kind of watch that keenly. You know what I mean? Like if I was watching him in particular the entire game, then maybe. But to me, he looked like he was moving okay.
I don't know. An action, I've seen them let Partey make mistakes. So I don't know. Maybe it's something in the way he was moving that they're like, okay, something's wrong here. We better just bring him up. But if the player says he's ready, sometimes like all players say they're ready, man. In every sport. But that's what the adults in the room are there for. To say, I don't think you're like what. I wonder what he showed in training in these last few days that
he didn't train.
He didn't train. No, so that wasn't a picture of him in the back? That wasn't him?
I don't think so.
Oh.
Did he train yesterday? I don't think so. Can't hear you, Reg.
Yeah, he's still up. I
You're on
think,
mute,
yeah,
bro?
the news that I saw was, well, the
There you
couple
go.
pictures that I saw, that there was speculation that was him in the background training, but I don't know if he actually was training. I don't know. But
Anyways, he looked sharp enough to me that
Well, so
didn't seem to be the problem. So
yeah, I didn't see. I didn't see. It's a rib injury. I don't know if it was affecting him or what, and that's why he came off. But he didn't look. He didn't look that much off the pace from everybody else, which isn't probably saying much. But it was just a surprising substitution for me. So the guy that came in for him, Jorginho, we're gonna give him. We're gonna give our rating for him for his debut. What did we see from Jorginho that can cause us to believe that he can replace Partey if Partey goes down injured this season? Did we see?
I mean, people thought that. I mean, I just took a quick peek online, and people were already taking jabs at Jorginho. I, to be honest with you, I didn't see too much wrong in his performance. I don't know. I mean, he's no Partey, and that's the best midfielder essentially in the Premier League this season. You know what I'm saying? So he's never going to be that.
he's no part.
To be honest with you, he almost felt like a Carbon Jaka copy out there. It was almost like the Spider-Man meme, like, "Oh, you, no, it's me, no, it's you." He looked almost like a carbon copy of him, and I think it's going to take them some time to sort out a little bit of chemistry. But to be honest with you, when he came in, he looked very Brazilian, not even Italian. He looked very Brazilian. He was passing forward. To me, he sped up the play, which was so stagnant at that point. You know what I mean? Like we were playing at one speed, and to me, when the tempo came up is when Jorginho came on. I mean, and he didn't have a hand in that goal either. You know what I mean? Like he had nothing to do with that. So.
Yeah. So for me, Everton didn't do much. They scored off a corner kick. Odegaard got bullied off the
Exactly.
from the player. They didn't create anything from open play. Yes, Onana was playing well. It looked like an audition for Arsenal, but who knows what happens in the summer when they get relegated. But I mean, we were. It's just and like you said in the beginning, and I was making fun of it. It's just like the players that you named that played well. I mean, that's what has to happen for a team like that to win, and it doesn't happen often. So I can call this a one-off. As soon as we finish the show, I'll forget about this game and move on to Brentford next Saturday. I'm expecting a big response from the team, even Arteta included, when that comes along next Saturday. We usually do player ratings. Like I said, if you guys want to do player ratings, go ahead. I'm giving everyone a 3. I'm sorry for Saliba and Gabriel, who were probably the best 2 players on the pitch, but everyone gets 3. Everyone gets a 3 from me. Coach, everybody.
Saka didn't play terrible. I mean, it
Saliba
wasn't.
and Gabriel were magnificent. We can't give them 3.
But yeah, like I'm not giving those guys 3s. I'm not giving those guys 3s. They did what they could. And,
I'm giving them a 3.
Honestly, it could have been worse, man. Without those 2 there, it could have been worse. I saw some recoveries from Saliba and Gabriel both that said to me, yeah, man, those guys are definitely not 3s. I'd actually pass them. I'd probably give them 6s. Just because
we'll give the set piece coach a 3. Who's that? Stuyvenberg? Cuesta, whichever. No, it's not Cuesta. I don't think it's Stuyvenberg. Yeah. We'll give Stuyvenberg a 3 for sure.
Well, that goal that they scored should have been cleared. I don't know why. For as long as I've been watching Arsenal play, especially on corner kicks.
Well, that shouldn't even have been a corner.
I don't know them. Well, that's true
that
too.
Shouldn't even have been a corner if you watch the playback.
I don't understand the marking strategy when you have players like Odegaard shouldn't be marking anybody.
No.
Anybody.
Not a Tarkowski. He shouldn't
he shouldn't be marking. Just hang around the top of the 18-yard box to get it in.
It's very zonal.
I don't understand the marking scheme, the strategy of. I don't get why players who aren't that way are marking guys.
Yeah, put him on a post or something. You know what I mean? Put him in a space.
That's it. Top of the 18-yard box. If we get it, you go. That's it. I don't want you marking because you can't. But anyways, we can go on forever ripping this team's performance today. Like I said, I'm going to forget about it when we're done.
It's their worst performance of the season.
It definitely is. It definitely is. It's a garbage way to start the weekend, but we'll fight through it, I guess, right? So next Saturday, the 11th, we have Brentford. Like I said, I think that's at the it has to be at the Emirates, so that's at home.
Do you fear them looking past that game, though?
Looking past that game for City?
Yeah.
I think this game, Arteta will use this game as the wake-up call that you can't do that.
Right.
I hope that's
Maybe
what
you should stick some guys even, man, and let them know that that was an unacceptable performance, man. Regardless of where it is.
It all depends on what happens tomorrow with Man City. If Man City wins, then you can't sit guys to send messages. You gotta play your best players. Yeah. So we gotta. I don't want to blow this lead. Believe me.
I would have still been upset with a 0-0 draw in this one, but at least they would have got a result, and that's what championship sides do. Today was just, it's disheartening, but yeah, you're right. You know, City, you could almost, I think could chalk up City tomorrow. They'll get that W, especially after
we were chalking up Arsenal today, so yeah, I don't know, man.
I was a little worried, but you know, I still thought Arsenal would pull it out, but it's like it went according to script, man. New manager, Goodison Park, and it just had to be Arsenal.
Well, let me ask you a question then, because of tomorrow. I'll ask both of you. Tomorrow, City plays Tottenham. Are we cheering for Tottenham? Is that possible?
I can't.
That's possible. All right.
That's sacrilegious, bud. It's sacrilegious.
We're hoping.
I cheer for 0-0. That's what I cheer for. 0-0. That's what I'll cheer for.
No way.
Yeah,
absolutely not.
We need them to lose.
If they want to split the points, let them split the points. Though.
We need them to lose.
I can't.
No,
come on, you're talking about Spurs.
I know that's the question. Like, what are we gonna do?
Oh man, I'll tell you what I'm doing.
What are we
0-0? All right, 0-0. That's what I'm doing. Split the points.
Yeah, I need City to lose, but there's lots of games.
You're forgetting something, though, Reg. They're playing their 21st game.
On goal. 1-0
on goal.
In
hand, you know. There's still a game in hand.
Who's that? Arsenal?
Yeah, against them. Against them.
Against City.
Yeah, and that's fine. But you can't think that way. We still got a game in hand.
No, the point is 3 points that they get and 3 points that we don't. That's a huge swing. So
it
has to be considered.
Need to lose. They need to lose. Unfortunately, I don't know if that means cheering for Todd. Maybe you just don't watch the game and hope that they lose. I don't know, but there's so many games. There's games going on. Some surprising.
Right now, I didn't even know. Like, where's Tottenham in the standings? They were. Last time I looked, they were.
Who cares? They're not close.
I guess we can afford 3 points.
It's impossible not to watch the game. It's impossible not to watch the game when you're in the title hunt. When you're I'm watching everything that has anything to do even slightly with the title race. You know what I mean? Much less we gotta fit Rams games in there.
Yeah, right. You're on the loan watch. You're on the loan watches too.
You know what I mean? Heavy on the loan watch. Blackpool game all day, and Balogun versus Farmers all day.
That's funny. Yeah, the loan watch. Edson's loan watch. 18 games a week.
Because I'm watching all Sky Sports. They're just the commentary. You know how they don't have the games, but they watch their commentary about everything going on, right?
Soccer side.
Yeah, IPTV is working overtime right now.
100%, right? 100%.
So I just looking at some of the results that are going on that might affect us in the table right now. We have United up 1-0 against Crystal Palace, which I'm going to watch that game. Maybe Lukonga's
I'm going to turn that on now.
In the lineup, and he is not. So, but that's 1-0 for United. A Bruno Fernandes penalty. I'm shocked. And another, just not nothing to do with us, but Wolverhampton Wolves up 2-0 against Liverpool. So
What?
I mean, there's some surprising.
Ruben Neves in the mix there, maybe. I don't know. Curious.
It's a Joel Matip own goal and Craig Dawson. Oh my god!
Dawson.
Oh wow!
Quick too, right? Like in the first 15 minutes.
Scrubs. It's the day of scrubs today, man. Holy smokes! So Madison scored for the City and Ollie Watkins for Aston Villa. That's 1-1. It looks like there's some good games this Saturday. So, guys, I mean, a disappointing loss away to Everton. I hope it's an eye opener for the players, the coaching staff, whoever needs to hear it or see it to believe it.
Need to freshen up.
Exactly.
Tomiyasu right back, and we'll work from there.
Well, freshen up in what way? They need some rest, and I think here's the chance. Take the rest.
Definitely.
Because that match day 12 of 38 is City, so I'm thinking about that game, right? I'm thinking about that one.
Well, hopefully, I hope they're thinking of it, but I hope they don't look past Brentford next Saturday, because if it's 2 in a row or even drop points, it's going to be squeaky bum time for that game. So, guys, I mean, there's not much else to say. If you haven't subscribed, recall Balogun. Yeah, I guess we can. That can be the last thing that we say. If you haven't subscribed to any of our social media platforms, go ahead and do that. Scrolling at the bottom, we're on Twitter, Instagram, we're on TikTok. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you haven't subscribed, hit the bell, subscribe, and you'll get notifications anytime we put up a new show. So, guys, I mean, like I said, garbage way to start Saturday, but Saturday has to start. Here we go. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next week.